industrial parks. Okay, you can freeze that one, the other one, freeze it. The one where you were showing the industrial park from the air. Freeze that one. You can see that's just one of the industrial parks. That is now the one of Mbale. That's the one of Mbale. And you can see all the factories are new. It is important to be reminded that this economy was US dollars 3.9 billion in 1986. Since that time, I've told you before, the economy has gone through the following 5 phases. Phase 1, the minimum economic recovery of some of the 3 C's and the 3 T's, and the ending of the shortages, Ebola, of the so-called essential commodities. Phase 2, expansion of the economy, e.g., increasing the amount of coffee, increasing the amount of tea, and so on. Phase 3, diversification, by taking on board new items from the list of the subsistence items to commercial production, such as milk, beef, bananas, fruits, cassava, etc. Now, during the time of the colonial times, they would talk of cash crops as coffee and cotton and tea only, and tobacco. They didn't know that all our products were cash crops, like milk, like beef, bananas, cassava. If you can show us the dairy factories, search for the dairy factories, and when you get them, show them to us. Then phase 4, value addition to all the raw materials where the economics is right. And 5, the knowledge economy of science, technology, and innovation. First, show us the dairy factories, if you get them, and then get us the key. Okay, that's the dairy now. Now you can freeze that one. Now all those, go back where you were. All those are products of the dairy from your cows. During the time of the British, although we had cows here, but you would find that we would be importing milk, powdered milk, condensed milk, and other types of milk from New Zealand, from Switzerland, from Denmark, from Kenya, our brothers in Kenya, but now Uganda is one of the biggest producers of milk in the world, and we shall overtake all these other countries because we have got a lot of potential. Now, then phase 5 is the knowledge economy. Let the routine B show us the Kira motors. Show us the factory first, and then the vehicles last. Show us the factory first. Those are your people fabricating electric vehicles, buses, cars, and other types. Those are all made here by your people, electric cars. Uganda is therefore unstoppable. Tewaliwo agenda kwekiika mu kkubo lyaffe ery'enkulaakulana. The only other issues we need to concentrate on are two. These are the economic integration of East Africa to ensure a big market for the wealth creators of East Africa, and the political integration of East Africa, resulting into the political federation of East Africa that will deal with the strategic situation of East Africa and even Africa. Now, ekisigadde ekikulu kwe kuteesa n'Abaganda baffe ab'e Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, Congo, Somalia, okunyweza akatale akawamu ak'ekitundu kyaffe. The wealth creators need to be sure of a big market. When we produce products, the market should be big enough to absorb all the products that are produced. But also, with East Africa, we are also working on the common market of the whole of Africa. And we have already reached the CFTA, the Continental Free Trade Area. However, in East Africa, we are also discussing the issue of the political integration leading to the Federation of East Africa. And the reason for that is that economic integration will deal with the economy, with the market. But how about the defense and security? We need a tighter organization to be able to defend ourselves against all the threats in the world. A federation of the East African states would create a center of gravity for the black race and would create a defense potential that defends East Africa against all and any threats. I believe that it would have capacity to be present in all spheres of strategic security, in the air, on land, at sea, and in space. We are moving well in all sectors. We need, however, to get rid of some mistaken approach. This is the practice of kumemerera, kumamira, mu Luganda bakita kumamira, poro in Luo, scattering resources and trying to be everywhere and ending up being nowhere. On the roads, we have moved well. In 1986, we had 1,000 kilometers of tarmac roads. We now have 6,288 kilometers of tarmac roads. However, because of the mistake of kumamira, some of the tarmac roads that were due to repair or reconstruction were not attended to in time. Hence, you have some very good roads, like the ones in Bunyoro, Lango, Karamoja, etc. However, you also have roads that have deteriorated because of delaying to rehabilitate or even reconstruct them. This kumerera, makes budgeters try to put money into administration, new districts, cities, salaries of public servants, like the teachers who are striking, infrastructure, wealth creation, etc., scattering money thin over so many sectors and achieving little across the board. That is why in 2006, I made a very firm stand insisting on ensuring priorities among priorities. I insisted on putting more money on the roads and electricity. Hence, the budget for the Ministry of Works moved from 373 billion shillings in 2005 to 1,215 billion by 2010. The one of electricity moved from shillings 133 billion in 2005 to shillings 398 billion in 2010. That is how we're able to do so many roads, such as Orio Gulu, Kitugu Musingo, Sorot Katakwi Moroto, Mbarara Chikagate, etc. We're also able to extend electricity to almost all the districts of Uganda. The current backlog of repair and reconstruction of a number of roads is on account of not maintaining that prioritization among priorities. Omukusasanya sente za gavumenti si kirungi okumamira buli wantu noteeka akasente katono olina kuba bw'oteeka essira ebintu ebyetaagisa essaawa eno tulina okubiteeka ku essira ne tubimala ne biggwa si kusigala bitundu kitundu wano kitundu wali. Eri ewaffe enkole bwe balima mu ndimiro waliwo kye bayita olugezi olubimbi. Osooka n'otwala olubimbi lumu kuva ku wansi w'endimiro kutuuka ku mutwe n'omala n'oddayo n'oleeta olubimbi olulala. Naye kati okulima n'otuuka wakati ate n'oddayo n'otandika olubimbi lw'otandise tolumaze, eyo si nkola ya kiyeekera. Fe abayeekera tutandika olubimbi ne tulumala. Ate ne tuddayo ne tutandika olubimbi olulala. Omunyankole bw'alaba olimako katono olubimbi ate n'oddayo n'otandika agamba nti ogwo nazaanira omu musiri, ono azaanyira mu ndimiro, si mulimi, oyo azaanyira mu ndimiro. Fortunately for Uganda, our oil is about to start flowing. Banange Katonda ayagala NRM nnyo. God favors NRM with a special emphasis. The British were here for 68 years. And from 1920 up to 1956, they tried to look for the petroleum of Uganda, but they failed. They were looking for the petroleum because there were signs on the surface. There were seepages. In Bunyoro there, a place called Kibiro. Kibiro, Okubira, in our Bantu, in our Runyakitara, means something boiling. So there was, you can see petroleum on the surface. Now the British tried to get the petroleum for almost 40 years, and they failed and they gave up. And they said maybe the petroleum was there, but it evaporated because of the volcanic activities. When NRM came, we discovered the petroleum. You show them where we are now. Aha. You freeze that one now. That is one. There in the background, you can see Lake Albert. Ito expectation to get Mwitanzige, Ababsaka Mwitanzige Mujirozere. Atukuriye nyima eche cha blue echo, that's like the blue is like Albert. Now that's one of the rigs digging a well in the Rift Valley, and this oil will start flowing next year. Fortunately for Uganda, our oil is about to start flowing. That will enable us to do more work at the same time. Even with the oil money, however, my strong proposal is that we concentrate budgeting initially on defense, the roads, tarmac and maram, electricity, education, health, water for drinking and for irrigation, the railway, wealth creation, PDM, UDB, ghetto funds, the science and innovation, like the Chira motors, like Magora. You show us Magora. Let's see Magora. The pharmaceutical, that's a huge facility supported by the government. Show us the overhead. That is a big facility initiated by one of our scientists, Magora, but supported heavily by the government. This is in Matugahia, just Matugahia. And that factory will produce drugs for cancer, for AIDS, for malaria, for diabetes, and all that. Your people here are able to treat diabetes, to treat cancer, all those treatments are now available here, and we can share them with the world. Now, salaries for some public servants, such as government scientists, the judiciary, the security personnel, etc. The economy is growing fast. With this prioritization, we shall soon be able to have enough money to cover more sectors. However, when you interfere with the above minimum areas of focus, you interfere with our economy's ability to grow. How would our economy be growing at 7% if I had not, in 2006, insisted on prioritizing the roads and the electricity? If I had not insisted on that in 2006, where would the electricity have come from? It is the more availability of electricity that is encouraging the rapid industrialization. So, in 2006, when I insisted and we put emphasis on roads and electricity, you see the results. All those factories are flocking here because of the electricity. There is enough electricity for now, but we need to again expand the electricity supply. The Uganda Revenue Authority needs to solve the issue of revenue losses. They are still collecting only 13 to 14% of GDP in taxes. If they are collecting 20% of GDP in taxes, with the GDP size of 66.9 billion, would be collecting about Uganda shillings 47 trillion in taxes. This would be a good level of government revenues. With the careful budgeting talked about above, and without the burden of paying debts that have the interest of Uganda shillings 11.3 trillion per year, would be quite comfortable, plus the robust growth we are already enjoying. The indiscipline in budgeting and revenue collection creates unnecessary distractions and delays our development tempo. With the discipline and the money, even without our oil, which will start flowing soon, our economy will hit the US dollars 500 billion in the coming years that we are targeting. As our economy has been growing, so has been our capacity to support the social services. These are education and health. Very good progress has been registered in those areas. In spite of the population of Uganda growing from 14 million in 1986 to 46 million in 2024, infant mortality rate has fallen from 119 deaths per year, live birth in the first year of life, to 28 deaths now. Life expectancy has gone from 43 years to 68 years. And the literacy rate has gone from 43% in 1986 to 80% today. With a bigger economy, the quality of our people's lives will continue to improve. One of the outcomes of the expanded education has been the growing number of our scientists and their innovations. Our scientists have made innovations in automobiles, pharmaceuticals, vaccines, electronics, etc. It is so pleasing. That is why correct and realistic budgeting is crucial. Finally, I need to salute the peace-loving Ugandans and the Uganda People's Defense Forces. Uganda People's Defense Forces for ensuring peace in Uganda. all that is happening first and foremost is on account of the peace that is available. This peace is lubricated by the long-standing NRM policy of reconciliation and forgiveness on top of our firm stand against crime. Even today, I'm happy to welcome back into peaceful Uganda Colonel Samson Mande, that had fled into exile on account of apparently some internal intrigue. While in exile, he tried to engage in some rebel activities. When, however, our cadres contacted him in Sweden, he happily agreed to come back and disconnect himself from the rebel activities. Let them bring Mande there so that he can talk to you himself. There. Abalina Mande bamulete. Mumukwesewa yaba Mande tono lya bugondo. Take him there. Take him there on the microphone there. You can pass here, don't mind. Ono omusajja yadduka wano abadde yagezako okulwana mbu alwanisa NRM, naye abantu baffe bamutuukiridde ne bamugamba nti ebyo biveeko. Yali muserikale waffe mu nsiko, ngenda kumubanyonyola oluvannyuma ko kasooke yeyanjire yekka. Okay, Mande, you can say some words.
Your Excellency, sir, Mama Janet Museveni, leaders, representatives, ambassadors, and high commissioners representing your nations. My commander, the CDF, Kainerugaba, Muhoozi, brothers and sisters of UPDF, I'm back home. Here in Uganda, I have two homes. The first home is my country. Nobody shall be surprised that I'm here. I'm in my home. The second home is the NRM. I'm a founder member of the NRM. NRM was born by us. It is in me. It will remain in me until death puts us asunder. Somebody who has the Bible should read the 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. When I was a child, I thought like a child. I behaved like a child. I acted like a child. But now I'm grown. And I know that the magnanimous heart of our leader, our dear leader, President Oders Museveni, would accept my change of behavior. Thank you very much for accepting me back in my home. I'm home to stay. I'm home to contribute to the development I have had and that I have seen. I went when I was bitter, but now I am better, and I'm loaded with solutions. I will not look in the past. I don't live in the past tense. I am looking forward to contributing to national development. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome, Mande. Take him and he sits down. Take him somewhere and he sits in the pavilion. Aisha, mumtwala ture. I remember Samson Mande in 1979 operating as a volunteer scout for the Task Force Division of the TPDF under Major General Cyrus Mayunga in Mbarara. I was commanding the 9,000 strong Foreigners fighting force. Later, Mande did a good job as a commander of the 15th Battalion in the siege of Masaka in 1985. And he also did a good job in his subsequent assignments. We welcome him back. Tungwaniriza Mande okukomawo. I wish all Ugandans a happy and successful end to 2025 and a happy and successful 2026. With God's blessings, we shall meet here again in 2026. Thanks to everybody. Katonda babeere.